One of these three men is known as the Noodle Priest. What is your name, please?
My name is John Romanello.
My name is John Romanello.
My name is John Romanello.
Only one of these men is the real John Romanello, the Noodle Priest. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Merv Griffin, Betty White, Ralph Bellamy, and Kitty Carlisle on To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Salem Cigarettes. Good evening, panel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My, not everybody has the privilege I have of working with people like you. Would you please open your envelopes for the first time, remove your first affidavit that you have not seen, and follow along as I read. I, John Romanello, am a Catholic priest, a Maryknoll missioner, and a manufacturer of noodles. I got into the noodle business when I discovered that the hungry Chinese refugees in Hong Kong had neither the knowledge nor the facilities to make proper use of the more than 50 million pounds of milk powder, cornmeal, and wheat flour that the American Foreign Aid Program sends to the Crown Colony each year. We started with one creaky noodle-making machine. Now we have 18 units turning out enough noodles to feed some 200,000 refugees each month. Each refugee gets 3 pounds of noodles in a bag marked, donated by the people of the United States. In Hong Kong, I am known as the Noodle Priest. Signed, John Romanello. Three gentlemen to start things off, panel, all claiming, as you heard, to be Father John Romanello, the Noodle Priest. May we start this round with Betty White. Betty?
How did I get so lucky? Thank you, Bud. Father Romanello, number one. Who is the patron saint of gardeners?
Who is the patron saint of what?
Of gardeners.
Gardeners? I don't know.
Number two, could you tell me?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Number three?
I do not know.
No, I didn't make that up. I know I didn't make that up. Number three, how wide are the noodles you make?
1.5 inches.
Number two, do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
How wide are they?
Oh, they're more like 1/2 inch.
Number one, how wide would you say they are?
Well, I'd say they're about that wide.
Thank you very much.
Ralph?
Number one, where's the headquarters of Maryknoll?
Ossney, New York.
Number two, what's the origin of Hong Kong?
Well, the translation of Hong Kong is...
I didn't mean the name, excuse me, but how did it first come to be as a city? Or as
About
a
100
place?
years ago, it's owned outrightly by the British government. It's a British Crown colony.
Number three, could you go any further with it?
1843, it was founded.
All right. Number one,
Kitty?
Number one, how long are your noodles?
Well, they can be a mile long. It all depends as they roll off the machine and how long the carpet is.
How long the carpet?
The carpet, the noodle carpet. It's like a carpet. You keep rolling it out and cutting it. We make them 12 inches, of course, for packing.
Thank you. Number three, who is Cardinal Chiconia?
He was the official cardinal of the Chinese Republic prior to 1948.
Thank you. Number two, what is a sampan?
A sampan is a boat. It's
Thank you.
somewhat...
Thank you. Number one, what is a samisan?
A samisan, I don't know.
Number two, what is a samisan?
I don't know.
The detergent. Father, number one, what is the location of the Maryknoll Seminary in Northern California?
Los Altos.
Father, number two, is that correct?
Los Altos.
Father, number three?
That is correct.
Father, number two, if I should call on you, would you answer this, please? Dominus Vobiscum?
Et cum spiritu tuo.
Father number 3, Orate...
I don't think we should have that sort of...
I'm just calling on my altar boy training.
It may be, but this is exactly like if someone were an actor asking them to act or anything like this. This is the thing we've always not allowed. We have disallowed that on this show, and I'm sorry. If it's a language thing, we don't allow them to speak the language and so forth. So I've used up all the time.
You used all my time.
And it's time for you now to mark your ballot. So will you kindly do so immediately?
It's a good idea, too.
That's all right. Just mark your ballots, if you will, please, right now, forthwith, and without consultation, and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers will get $250 for every incorrect vote. All set? All right, Merv, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number uno. Is that allowed?
Sure, et cum spirito uno, or tuo.
He answered so quickly as to where the Mary Knoll Seminary is in Northern California, and I'm familiar with it, and he's right. The other 2 repeated. I don't think he'd know that unless they're all 3 Mary Knowlers. You wouldn't do that, would you, Bud? 'Cause that's not allowed.
I'll answer nothing until the round is over. Betty.
Well, true to form, I voted for number 2 for the simple reason that he looked so kind of upset about those wide noodles. I think number 1 is a carpet salesman, not a noodle.
Ralph, what about your vote?
I was torn between number 1 and number 2. Number 1 was very free with his information, but I think number 2's clothes fit him better. Number 2.
And Kitty.
Well, I voted for number 2. I think he has the energy and the initiative to have instituted this program. Number 3 said Cardinal Chiconia had something to do with the Chinese Republic. I think he was the Secretary of State for Pope John. And number 1 said the noodles came out on carpets, and I don't believe that.
Well, all right, let's find out what we can believe as we decide now which one of these gentlemen is the real noodle priest, so-called. So will the real Father John Romaniello please stand up?
That'll show him, won't it, Father?
I was told to be honest, you see, so I was honest.
You didn't have to be told to be honest, I'm sure of that, Father. Incidentally, I think all of you ought to know that the Right Reverend Monsignor John Romaniello has been in the Far East since 1928, and he lived in communist China for 2 years under house arrest. He is currently the Director of Catholic Relief Services in Hong Kong. We're very proud to have you with us. Very proud. Yes, Kitty?
In behalf of Betty and myself, do they really come out on carpets?
Well, that was a miss...
They do come out.
It is. It's like a carpet, but it's a noodle carpet.
Got a great broad width.
And then it's cut, of course, through a cutter. But you could roll it out here if we had one, and
if we had
could
time.
walk. Yeah.
Number 2, may we have your real name and what you really do, please? You got most of the votes.
My name is Alfred Crotty, and I'm an attorney specializing in foreign patents and trademarks.
And number 3, may we have your real name and what you do, please?
My name is Jack Wilson. I work for Columbus McKinnon Corporation, and I sell chain and hoists.
Well, we checked the score. We find that there were 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $750 from Salem Cigarettes, as well as a carton of Salem's for each of you. Thank you very much for being with us, gentlemen. Good night, and God bless. Now, panel, may I present our next team of challengers?
What is your name, please?
My name is Ann Marston. My name is Ann Marston. My name is Ann Marston.
Well, you've had a look. Will you give a listen, panel, and follow along with your copies? I, Ann Marston, am a professional archer. My father, who is also an archery expert, taught me to use the bow and arrow when I was 10 years old. When I was 15, I won the United States Women's Championship. I have held 11 national championships in all and have broken several world's records. My skill with the bow came in very handy several years ago when I represented my home state in the Miss America contest. My archery exhibition won me first place in the talent competition. Signed, Ann Marston. 3 pretty misses panel this time, all claiming to be Ann Marston, professional archer. And let's start this round with the guy who draws a strong bow very easily, Merv Griffin.
Thank you, Bud. And number 1, how are you judged in championship competition? By distance?
According to score.
Pardon?
According to score.
I see. Would it be important to your skill if you could shoot further than any other
No,
archer?
it would only help in score-wise.
I see. Number 2, who is the woman who's in charge of the Miss America contest?
Lenore Slaughter.
Oh. Number 3, what television personality always MCs that?
Bert Parks.
Aren't you good?
Betty White.
Thank you, Bud. First of all, I think number 3 should be disqualified. We're not allowed to use foreign language on the program.
Bravo! You'll get an argument on that being foreign.
Well, it looks awful good, I know that. Number 3, Ann, what position is your left arm in when you draw the bow?
Your left arm holds the bow.
Number 2, what position is your left arm in when you draw your string back?
It holds the bow.
Is it straight or is it bent?
It's straight.
Number 1, do you agree with that?
Yes, unless you're right-handed.
Number 3, do you agree that it's straight, your left arm, when you draw back the bow?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're going to get your forearm hurt when you do that.
Ralph.
Number 1, at what distance do you stand from the target?
Oh, different distances.
What's the average, a common one then?
Oh, 60 yards, 240
Number
feet.
2, what's the length and weight of the bow?
Well, that varies also. It can be from 60 to 66 inches in length. It's according to the weight of the pull. And also the length of your arm is compared with the arrow.
Kitty.
Number 3, what's a kiss button?
Beg your pardon?
A kiss
That's what
button.
you put on your mouth. That's how I measure where I'm going to knock the arrow.
Will you translate that?
I'm not
Number 2, I was a judge at the Miss America contest 2 years in a row. Was I judge when you were there?
No, you weren't.
Was I judge when you were there?
No,
And you, number 3?
No, ma'am.
Oh, well, that knocks the whole thing out. Number 1,
Knocks
what
the
kind of a kiss button do you use?
Just a little piece of tape.
Little piece of tape.
And that's it. All right, panel, again, get to the business at hand, if you will, please, of marking your ballots. Do so now without consultation. And vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. All right, all ballots marked. Merv, which one did you select this time?
But I selected 2 for 2 reasons. The lovely out-of-doors tan that she has, and I'm sure that's an out-of-door sport. I don't recall having that it's played inside. And the fact that she has very short hair compared to the other 2, because I suspect if you were a woman archer, you would cut your hair short, that when you drew your hand back, you wouldn't get everything caught in your...
Well, you'd only cut it short on one side.
Well, I'm voting for her because she has her hair cut short on one side.
Betty.
Well, I voted for number 3 because on the strength of Kitty's kiss button there, but I thought that you, in pulling the bow back, you kept this elbow back just ever so slightly so you didn't get that sting there. But
Ralph.
who's to say?
I voted for number 2, mainly because of that kind of outdoor tan.
And Kitty.
I voted for number 3 because she gave me the answer about the kiss button, and number 2, one said she used a piece of tape. I don't believe it's a piece of tape. And number 2 really looks like she should be the one, and they try to fool us so often. So I voted for number 3.
All right, votes are all in, minds are made up. And now we're going to see which one of these ladies is the real professional archer. Ladies, would you mind stepping out here in front on the stage, please?
They're going to shoot?
Step right out. They're going to shoot me, yes.
Oh, my Lord, don't get too close to me.
Now, we have a target arranged back here, which we'll show you now. A target with some balloons on it. So, Will the real Ann Marston please take the bow and arrows and break those balloons?
Oh, not yet.
Not yet, not yet, no.
What a pro. You have to miss one to make it look a little hard, you know. And the littlest one,
doing
too.
it all wrong. That's perfectly obvious. She kept her arms straight and look like...
And never once hit her own arm. Number... There's a piece of tape right there. Number 2, may we have your real name and what you really do, please?
Yes, my name is Sally Ardrey, and I am one half of a dance team called the Ardrey Sisters. And I've never shot a bow and arrow in my life.
And number 3, your real name and what you do, please.
My name is Ginger Porter. I'm Miss Sun Fund, USA, and I'm representing Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
You know what she said? Oh, dear. Okay, it's pretty as she never shot a bow either. All right, let's see what the score is now. 4 incorrect. That's $1,000, lady. Hope you had fun. And from Salem, also a carton of Salem's anyway. Thanks for being with us. Good night, and God bless you all. Here is our 3rd team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Jack Marks.
My name is Jack Marks.
My name is Jack Marks.
Again, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Jack Marks, am director of the zoo in Portland, Oregon. On April 14th, 1962, at a little before 6 in the morning, it was my privilege to witness the birth of a 225-pound baby boy named Packy, the first elephant born in captivity in the United States in 44 years. Packy's mother is 10-year-old Belle. During Belle's pregnancy, she was attended by a veterinarian, an obstetrician, a heart specialist, and 3 elephant midwives. In the final 3 months, Belle developed a special craving for old film cartons and black coffee. Packy's father took the birth of his first son in stride, but the shock was too much for me. An hour after the blessed event, I collapsed in a dead faint. Signed, Jack Marks. Very well, we have here 3 gentlemen panel, all claiming to be Jack Marks, zoo director. We'll start with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. I'm absolutely thrilled to meet whichever one of you is Mr. Marks, because I read every word about this delivery. Number 1, how many hours were you in attendance?
About 4.5.
4.5 hours. Number 2, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Number 3, how long was Belle pregnant?
635 days.
How many years is that?
That's into the 21st month.
Into the 21st month. Number 1, did she have attendants with her? I mean, elephant attendants?
Yes, she had 3 midwives.
3 midwives. And did she do a funny kind of dance or anything just before? Number 2?
Yes, she did. She whirled around on her front feet, backed up against the wall. She sat on one of her midwives.
Number 3, how long did the actual delivery? Oh, well.
Merv.
Thank you, Bud. I don't know what to ask about elephants and ones who have babies. Not elephant. Jack Marks, number 1. What is the Packy on now? On a bottle?
No, she's still being fed by Belle.
By what?
She's still being fed by her mother.
By Belle?
By Belle, yes.
Right. Number 2, have you lived in Portland, Oregon a long time?
9.5 years.
Uh-huh. What's the name of the big department store there?
Meyer and Frank.
Is that right, number 3?
I believe that's correct.
What was the year of the big flood in Portland? Number 1, the year of the big flood in Portland?
1924.
The year of the big flood in Portland, number 2?
1924. Betty.
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, what is Packy's father's name?
Tornlow.
And number 3, how did Tonlo act during the birth?
Well, he wasn't in with them.
Where was he, number 3?
In a security room.
Number 2, what?
Away from reporters.
They should have thought of that sooner. Number 2, how long has it been since the last baby elephant was born in this country?
44 years.
Number 3, where was that baby born?
Ralph Bellamy, please.
With Ralph Bellamy?
Yeah.
Number 1, what's the big zoo in Chicago?
Leland Parks.
What'd you say?
Leland Park Zoo.
Number 2, would you agree? Big zoo in Chicago.
Yes, I'll have to agree.
Number 3, would you agree?
In Chicago, it is Lincoln Park.
Number 1, what's the big zoo in San Francisco? What's the name of it?
The San Francisco Zoo.
Number 2, would you agree?
The San Francisco Zoo.
Number 3?
That's correct, sir.
Nobody ever heard of the Flash Hackers Zoo?
I don't think
Number 1 was...
That's all the time we have, I'm sorry to say. So again, get to the business at hand, which is that of marking ballots and voting. And of course, without consultation. Vote, please, for number 1, number 2, or number 3.
Oh, it's so terrible.
Mark them up. All right, down to the wire we come. And Merv, for whom did you vote this time?
I voted for number 2, Bud, because number 1 and number 3 are smiling at us like they want us to vote for him. And number 2 is looking all over the place like he never delivered an elephant in his life.
Betty.
Well, I voted for number 3. I was surprised at some of the answers on some of the other zoos, but I still vote for number 3 on a hunch at this point.
Ralph?
I'm voting for number 2 mainly because I've been voting for number 2 all evening, and if you keep at it, you're bound to hit. But I think some of his answers were closer than some of the others.
And Kitty.
Well, I voted for number 1. Unlike you, Merv, number 2's been smiling at me all evening. Maybe it's personal.
All right.
And however, he did say that Packy sat on one of her midwives, and I know that's true from reading about it, but I voted for number 1. He seemed very serious.
Packy's mother.
He sat on her.
Bell.
Bell sat on one of her midwives, yes.
All right, and so we go now to the moment of truth as we learn which one of these gentlemen handled a really colossal job as the zoo director. So, will the real Jack Marks please stand up? Thank you. And we sincerely hope that Jack gets over the habit of fainting every time an elephant is delivered, because we have it on good authority that out there in Portland right now, there are 3 expectant elephants. Oh, so I hope it's
Isn't Packy a little boy?
Packy was a little boy.
Little boy.
Yes.
That's what threw me off of number 1.
You said she. That's right. Let's find out about number 1. May we have your real name and what you do, sir?
My name is Jim Flynn. I'm from the Republic of Panama, and I work for the banana exporter.
Thank you, sir. And number 2, that brings us to, you got the lion's share of the votes. What do you do and what is your real name?
My name is Joel Kimball. I'm cruise director for the Moore McCormick steamship line to South America.
Well, we do thank you for contributing to our good fun this evening. And in checking the score, we find there was just 1 correct, and that was Betty's. That means that among the other 3 at $250 each, you have a total of $750. Not as big as an elephant, but it's a lot of long green, no matter how you look at it. And, of course, a carton of Salem cigarettes for each of you, and we thank you very much again. Good night, and bless you all. That's all the time we have for tonight. I would like to remind you of one thing. It always seems rather grim and unnecessary. Statistics show that every 14 minutes somebody else dies in a traffic accident. And where traffic laws are obeyed, accidents go down in number. Furthermore, seat belts prevent deaths. So follow these things as closely as you can and do your part toward cutting down this terrible toll. Good night to you, panel.
Good night, Bud.
Bless you all. I sure love working with you.
Deo gratias.
Ah, there it goes. Et cum spiritu tuo. Bud Collier, saying goodnight from Salem Cigarettes and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. To Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Salem, the cigarette that refreshes your taste. This is Johnny Olson saying goodnight. For To Tell the Truth, this program was pre-recorded.